Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We'll go ahead and get started with today's guest. Our first question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, Sean. So nice to be here. My name is Pat Hedley. I am an investor and an advisor of growth companies. In addition, I wrote a book called Meet 100 People, which encourages us all to expand and build on our networks and relationships.
Such a great topic, especially for any kind of entrepreneurs out there looking to increase the network. So I'm excited about that part as well. Well, question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
The best thing about working with a team is you get to have a diversity of perspectives, and you get to have people with different experiences and expertises come together as one toward a shared objective and execute on that. What I love is the old quote that if you want to go far, you travel alone, or if you want to go fast, you travel alone. If you want to go far, you travel together. Teams provide that opportunity to travel together and to go far and to get a lot done.
Oh, that's great. Well, question number 3. I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
Sure. I think the single most important thing in putting together a team and in inspiring a team is to get buy-in. And the way you get buy-in or commitment is you have to lay out what the overall goal is, what the mission of the team is. Only in that way are you going to get buy-in. And I think that is step number 1. Step number 2 is you have to build trust, because trust is a foundation for any relationship, and it helps make everything more efficient and better. You have to have teammates who trust one another, who trust in each other's abilities and their capabilities of getting things done. I think there are some other things that are incredibly important in terms of teams and in leadership, and they include setting accountability and achieving results. Those, I think, are the crux, the most important things when you're talking about building a team and then leading a team effectively.
Well, in your previous answer to the second question, you talked about the buy-in and the diversity of perspectives. And you're absolutely right. When you bring all those components in, it just strengthens the team. So those are great ideas. Thank you for sharing them. Question number 4, what other piece of advice do you have for leaders of teams?
I think it's important for leaders of teams to get to know their team members. It's important to have them understand where they're coming from. What is their background? What is their experience? What perspective are they bringing to the team so that they can best allocate responsibilities and utilize those skills and talents? I think you need to have a good professional understanding of your teammates, but I also would go one step further. And I think it's very appropriate, especially during these times when many people have to work virtually. I think you also have to get a better understanding of who the individuals are as people, and what their circumstances are and how they can most effectively add to the success of whatever the objectives are. So I think that getting to know individuals within the team and what they bring to it is essential.
I could not agree more, because boy, it's so difficult we just, as human beings, we don't separate work from personal. And so to some extent, that personal is going to affect our work. And so I love what you shared there. So thank you for sharing that with everybody who's listening. Question number 5, what other successful leaders, including yourself, have had a positive influence in your life that you'd like to recognize?
There are so many people that have had an incredible influence on me. And I think that it is, and honestly, the list is probably so long that I would omit someone. But certainly, look, I spent 30 years of my career with a private equity firm. The 2 individuals who founded that firm, Ed Cohen and Steve Denning, are tremendous influences, not only on my career, but also on the careers of many incredibly successful entrepreneurs over the years. I think one of the things they brought to bear was an understanding for making sure that those individuals got advice and guidance, not just from them, but from others. I fundamentally believe it's really important to surround yourself with smart people and people who can help guide you and can advise you over the course of your life. When you're young, to reach out to people who are older than you, but also your peers. And then as you get older, to pay it forward by helping people who are much younger. And frankly, I think that that is an incredibly essential part of what any experienced person should do, is to continue to mentor and help and guide younger people. And frankly, I get as much from doing that as I think the younger people that I've mentored and advised get from me. So I told you I'm an advisor to growth companies. I advise this incredible earlier stage company called Landis, two amazing founders, Cyril and Tom. I have huge respect for them, and I'm learning from them even as they're learning from me. And one of the things that I guide them to do is to regularly meet people who can help them build their teams, people who can provide perspectives to them after having had long careers and having had built teams that they might otherwise not have access to. So, I mean, I could list lots of people. Kara Golden, who runs Hint Water, fantastic individual, and someone who has built an incredible team, starting in her kitchen where she created these, made water with a little bit of a fruit flavor, and grew that to now a nationwide, very large business, focused on health and wellness. In fact, deliciously flavored fruit water, no sugar beverages, and terrific leader. I mean, there are countless ones that I've come across. I'm very fortunate in that I've gotten to meet many entrepreneurs over the course of my career, and they're so impressive in terms of how they build their teams and execute upon the mission that they set out for themselves.
Boy, that's certainly an impressive list. So thank you for recognizing all those people. Last question. Tell us about your first job.
Well, my very first job was working for my mom's small business. So my parents are immigrants from Hungary. My mom came to this country with, not very much, but she ended up setting up a data processing service, which is really entering data and information into a computer, which long ago was put onto computer tapes and key punch cards, etc. So my very first job was typing in information, and I learned a number of very important lessons in doing that job. The first and most important lesson I learned was I did not want to do that for the rest of my life. And I think that's actually a good lesson when you do some really hard work. The second lesson I learned was perseverance, because and doing something mundane and routine that you had to get done. And so I learned to, just grind through something that was difficult and not a lot of fun and not very intellectually stimulating, but it still had to be done. And so to this day, I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and doing things that others might consider difficult, because I had that experience when I was young. And look, recognizing that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life certainly focused me on what I did want to do. I didn't know it then, but I recognize this trait in me today. I'm a really curious person. I love to learn. I actually like change. I like challenges. I like to problem solve. And so I learned that I would have to continue my education in order to be exposed to those opportunities. And so my very first job out of college was I ended up working as a consultant with Bain & Company, a global consulting firm. And it was well suited to my personality, because as a consultant, you're solving problems for businesses. And I really enjoyed being on a team and focusing on problems to help Bain's clients solve those problems. So going from a, more roll up your sleeves, mundane job of typing to problem solving was a great leap for me. And I was fortunate that, that I had both those experiences.
We certainly learn a lot from those early jobs. We don't always recognize it or appreciate it at the time, but we certainly do learn a lot. So thank you so much for sharing those stories with us. And also thank you for being on the podcast today, Pat. How can people find you?
People can best find me on my website, which is meet100people.com. My email is pat@meet100people.com. I encourage people to go there if they have an interest in learning a little bit more about how you can expand your relationships and network.
Fantastic. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us today and have a great day.